In order to make my own deck guns for the ship, and here's one of them. Right, this is all done out of clothespins and wood, and you'll see in a second. Here's another style. I was experimenting with this. Okay, so what you will need for these deck guns is a bunch of buttons, and I have assorted sizes here. You need a dowel, okay, I believe this is the 3/16th inch, and that's the diameter. Okay, so that's the dowel you will use, and I already marked this one where I want to cut right here. I already marked that with a pencil where I want to cut, and when I cut my dowels, I usually take my wire clippers, very carefully notch it, kind of twist the dowel around, notch it. Oh, I missed a spot there. There we go. We notch it and then start sawing there. And that gives you a nicer, smoother cut, and you can continue to file that because this is going to be the muzzle of your gun. And I'm going to use the smoothest end possible for the muzzle. Next, you need clothespins, and you got to take them out of their wire assembly, and I use these right here. And some small clothespins, these tiny ones that you get in craft stores, are also excellent, and I will show you how to use that. And then you need some wood beads. I got this at Walmart, and I use these little beads for various things. One of the ways to use those beads is to use it to make the muzzle on one of the guns, and this gives sort of the illusion that this is a bigger caliber of gun, and that goes in the front there. Okay, and those are their two guns. So, all right, I'll show you very quickly. You need a small stick, really small, thin, and these also come in packs like this. I don't know the measurement of these, but they're very, very thin in diameter. Lollipop stick, you need a couple of those, assorted buttons, and very important are the clothespins, and you take them out of their wire connections, and you'll need a few of those. I'm also using some very tiny clothespins that you get in the dollar store, and I also remove them from their wire attachments, and I'll show you how I use those in a minute. Some beads, and these are the little beads you get to make necklaces. They sell them at Walmart, and there's a lot of different shapes, and I use these for the muzzles of the guns. Also, I was using a medium-sized clothespins, but I ran out. This is my last one, so that's why I'm using the very tiny ones. And this is basically what you want to do. Okay, and there's the tiny clothespins. There's the barrel of the gun, and I'm going to take a little drill, hobby drill, and just make a little hole there. That'll fit just nicely. Okay, let's start. Okay, so I have to cut my clothespin, and you see all these notches. So I'm going to use this top notch to put my thin stick through there. But first, I got to cut it. So I'm going to cut right on this wide notch here. Okay, you see the shape that it has. I'm going to cut this wide notch, and that's the first clothespin. Okay, so I use my clippers and just carefully cut this, right? And then take my sandpaper and just give it a little file down, take away any rough edges. And this is what you have. So we're going to use this end, and preferably this shorter end, for the front of the gun. And I already cut a muzzle, and I'm using my really smooth end of the dowel to make the barrel. Okay. Now this is a very short gun. This is one of the short guns, and that's why the gun is so short. So I use my hot glue gun very carefully. Just put a little bit of hot glue, and I'm using hot glue because it's so much easier. Um, it's so quick, you know. It doesn't have disadvantages. You can use wood glue and or tacky glue, which really you know, it gives you a nice tight fit. But for now, the hot glue, it really works well. And I don't worry about size right now. I'm just gonna do this. Okay, and I take one of these coffee sticks. I call them coffee shakers. These are the coffee stirrers, sorry. These are just ones you get in packs. And this stick is nice because it gives a lot more surface area for gluing. So I make sure everything is straight, and now we can start cutting things to size. These I want to leave a little bit of a projection, okay, like that. Those are the things that hold the gun in place. So roughly like that. And I'm doing this by eye. I'm not really measuring. But you can, of course, if you want to be really precise, you can. Uh, but for the purpose of this tutorial, just want to do things simple. Okay. Notice how any blobs you get with the hot glue gun, just use the tip of the gun, run it back and forth, and it'll smoothen everything out so you don't get ugly blotches. And now it's time to attach the barrel. Okay, and of course I cut my stick to size back here, and I put the short barrel, and again, this is one of the short guns, a lower caliber, a lower pound, I guess is how they used to measure pound. So like, you know, 5-pounders, 10-pounders, it was really the ammunition that they loaded to the gun that, you know, told you how big the gun was. So we'll do this, okay. All right, and so again, I want to make sure everything is straight. Just make sure everything is straight. It already starts to look like a gun. So this is my other end of the clothespin that I cut off, and I just filed the edge a little bit, and then you can play with it to see, you know, what shape you want. You want it like that or like this, okay? The idea behind this is to give this width so you can attach the wheels. Okay, so you put your hot glue there and make sure it is straight. And now we can attach the buttons for the wheels. So I already chose my buttons here. You don't want them too big. These guns generally had, you know, smaller wheels. And I put a little bit of hot glue. I don't do anything else to it. Just put a little bit of hot glue and fit the wheel there, which is why it's important that this is flush. Okay. And the only thing, of course, make sure everything is straight so that your wheels are not lopsided or something, you know. That's really the main concern. And okay. Okay, so that starts there. And again, they don't have to be very high. And I'm going to cover this little arch here. Just use that arch as a guide to place the wheel. Okay. And then, see, that's the little arch I used as a guide. And kind of place my wheel here. And it kind of helps because the archway kind of secures the wheel a little bit. So there you go. You got two little wheels. These things on the side now, you want to use your really thin clothespins, your really small clothespins, and attach these to the side. Okay, and there's my tiny clothespins, and I'm using the widest notch of the tiny clothespins to fit into the holder, these pegs here. Okay, and that's what kind of holds the cannon. That's what allowed it to move upward. It's just an illusion. That's all you want to do, and it gives the cannon a little bit of width. Now to finish it off, I take my popsicle stick here, And this round edge is what I want. So very carefully chop off the very tip. And yeah, those sticks go flying around, so be careful, okay? It's a very small tip, and I glue it right to the back, like so. Okay, that just gives it a little bit more support. It looks a little better, and just make sure this end is filed. This end right here is filed, so when you attach your wood, it's nice and straight. Okay, so I put a tiny glob of hot glue, and then just put my piece in the end here, and just make sure it's straight so it doesn't look weird. And there you go. That's the piece right there, and that kind of gives it an end to the cannon, right? Um, and there you go. You can paint this and now put it on the deck of the ship. And there it is, a deck gun. These are the other deck guns, and I made different ones.